Welcome to Daily Gossip. You will get daily Hollywood updates here. Remember to subscribe for the latest videos. The world of television and comedy is in mourning today as we say goodbye to one of the most beloved sitcom stars of all time, George Wendt, the iconic actor who brought Norm Peterson to life on the hit series Cheers, has died peacefully in his sleep at the age of 76. His passing marks the end of an era for anyone who remembers the golden days of network television, and for anyone who ever laughed, cried, or simply smiled when Norm walked into that Boston bar and the crowd shouted his name. His death comes not with scandal, not with spectacle, but with the quiet heartbreak of knowing that someone who brought joy to millions is now gone, leaving behind a legacy that few can match. This is the story of George Wendt, his rise, his struggles, his triumphs, and now the deep emotional reaction to his passing from those who knew and loved him most. From Ted Danson to Kelsey Grammer, from co-stars to lifelong fans, the tributes have been overwhelming and raw. George Wendt wasn't just an actor. He was a comforting presence, a figure who felt like a friend to audiences. His portrayal of Norm on Cheers was so powerful, so consistent, so endearing, that Norm became a part of the American consciousness. Norm wasn't just a barfly with one-liners. He was the heart of the room, the voice of the everyman, and George brought him to life with warmth, wit, and vulnerability. For 11 years and 275 episodes, Norm sat at the same barstool and gave us wisdom disguised as jokes. And even after the final episode aired, Norm never really left us, because George Wendt made him unforgettable. Born in Chicago in 1948, George Wendt's journey to stardom was not a straight line. He wasn't groomed for the spotlight, nor was he an overnight success. After struggling through school and briefly getting expelled from Notre Dame, Wendt found his calling in improv. He joined the legendary Second City in Chicago, where his comedic instincts and timing began to blossom. It was there, on that stage, that George discovered not just how to be funny, but how to be real. He wasn't chasing fame. He was chasing authenticity. And it was this authenticity that made him stand out when Cheers casting directors were looking for someone who could embody Norm, a man everyone recognized, who felt like home. The moment George walked into the audition, the producers knew they had found their Norm. Cheers premiered in 1982, and although it got off to a slow start in the ratings, it quickly became a cultural phenomenon. And George Wendt, he became the symbol of its soul, with over 500 on-screen entrances into the bar that always greeted him with a shout of Norm. George held a record, but more importantly, he held our hearts. His jokes were often the punchline of the scene, but they were never mean. They were clever, observational, and filled with a kind of human truth that you couldn't write into a script unless you understood people the way George Wendt did. In the wake of his passing, his Cheers co-stars have spoken out, and their words have moved fans around the globe. Ted Danson, who played bartender Sam Malone, said in an emotional Instagram post, "George was laughter. He was kindness. He was the warmth in the room even on the coldest day. We didn't just lose Norm. We lost our brother." Kirstie Alley, who passed away in 2022, had once called George her anchor during the toughest years of her life. Kelsey Grammer, who shared the screen with George both in Cheers and Frasier, said, "Norm's seat is empty now, and I don't know that it will ever be filled again." But it wasn't just the cast. Fans from every walk of life have taken to social media to share how George Wendt touched them personally. Some say they watched Cheers with their parents every night before bed, Others say they modeled their comedic timing after Norm's delivery. And still others say that Norm made them feel seen, that his character showed that even if life wasn't perfect, even if you didn't have all the answers, you could still show up and belong. George Wendt was more than just an actor. He was part of people's lives in a way few celebrities ever are. After Cheers ended in 1993, George never stopped working. He appeared in shows like Frasier, The Simpsons, Becca, and even SNL. He also returned to theatre, his first love, and wowed audiences in productions like Hairspray and Art. His work on stage proved that his talent was as versatile as it was dependable. He also became a loving family man, married to actress Bernadette Burkett, with whom he shared over 4 decades of marriage and 3 children. Unlike many in Hollywood, George didn't seek controversy. He lived quietly, lovingly, and with purpose. His biggest scandals were the kind that made you laugh, not cry, like the time he accidentally slept through an entire rehearsal, or the time he went viral for helping a fan get through a rough divorce with a personalized video in full Norm voice. Perhaps the most moving tribute came from his son, Daniel Wendt, who shared, "My dad was everyone's dad. He taught me that being funny wasn't about being loud. It was about listening. He taught me that showing up, even when you don't want to, is the bravest thing you can do. And he showed me every day what it means to be a man, not just in the spotlight, but at the kitchen table." Those words echoed across the internet and left many fans in tears, because for all the jokes, all the episodes, all the quotes, George Wendt's greatest legacy wasn't Norm. It was the kindness he showed when the cameras were off. As the world prepares to say goodbye, fans are returning to old episodes of Cheers, finding comfort in the familiar sound of George's voice. NBC has announced a tribute marathon this weekend, and tributes are being planned by both the SAG-AFTRA Foundation and the Television Academy. Rumors are even swirling that a statue of Norm may be installed outside the real-life Cheers bar in Boston. In a time when television has become fast and fleeting, George Wendt reminded us that longevity, loyalty, and genuine talent still matter. He gave us a character we could count on, a friend we never met but always knew. And now, as he rests in peace, we remember every smile he gave us and every laugh we shared. There's an eerie silence in the world of sitcoms right now, as though the laughter is paused in mourning. But even in death, George Wendt is giving us one last gift. A chance to remember what made television feel like home. A chance to reconnect with the warmth of community. A chance to raise our glasses, even if metaphorical, and say together, one last time, "Norm!"